Perfect. So you just you said, right, like organizing a data in the system manner, right? We don't put here and there, right? So in go in library, go you somewhere, right? We organize where to put what, right? Isn't it? It is organized data, well managed, organized data, right? And it is a very well structured, right? So that is why we say it is structured, right? We need to create a structure. We need to create a structure from the beginning. There has been many questions around this. Okay, when you come to the NoSQL database, there is no structure, right? Without structure, how you can write, right? There is a lot, there are many topics to talk. This is not the topic for that. But I'm just telling there are many topics or questions around in your mind. So I just what are anywhere in
Sorry for the interruption. Krishna sir, your voice is still breaking. Uh,
okay.
not getting clear. आवाज सभी को रुक रुक के आ रही है. प्लीज हैंड रेज कर दीजिएगा अगर जिनको ये.
यस सर, आवाज ब्रेक हो रही है.
Understood, understood. Please raise your hand, guys. आप एक साथ सभी लोग माइक अनम्यूट कीजिएगा तो किसी को भी सुनाई नहीं देगा. So it's okay. Please, sir.
Okay, let me try to. I can try to increase. I have increased all. I mean, 1 second. Let me try to put. Try to put headphone or something again, and let me see. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Is it fine now?
Is it okay for all? अभी सभी को आवाज क्लियर आ रही है?
Is it good now? Tell me, please. Hello. Is it good now?
Okay, okay. So, is it okay?
Okay. If it's okay, you're good and you're happy, then let me know. Right? Okay, great, man. I think most of the people are saying okay and good to go ahead. So yeah, like I said, we were talking about what is database, right? And few of our colleagues, they answered it very well. Okay, and they knew that what is database, right? It doesn't mean that they don't know practically, they don't know theoretically. It is they have tried, right? And we should appreciate each and everyone who is trying to explain or trying to talk about something, right? And that is being appreciated by each has to be appreciated by each and everyone because we are all together learning, right? That is why I'm mentioning here. Nice. So I was talking about what is database. So a database is an organized collection of data that can be easily accessed, managed, and updated. Okay. What is meant by organized? Okay. So when you create a, let's say you have a data, you put a have a particular data. Now you want to access this employee data, organization. So data is there every to update. What is the proper way of? First of all, we should create a structure, and in such a way that we can store the data, relevant data, to the relevant data of the entities. Entities meaning what is meant by entity? Entity meaning a student, employee, organization, or anything what you feel entity. So based on that, we have to create a proper structure, and then we should put the data into it, right? Now there are many. I'm just saying that there are many other vendors are there which does provide this all the options, right? Because they need to support their databases. Now this all these things all these been supported by all the database vendor, right? So now this is one of the things which I was talking about database, right? Now what are the uses of database? Anyone tell me where we can use the database? tell me just any example, simple example, like where we can use the database. Day-to-day activity in anywhere where you feel like there is a need of database.
Yes, sir. And we can perform the basic operation for use for the database, like and the CRUD operation like create, read, update, delete.
Yeah, that's good. But I'm saying where we can use the database, where you can use the database. Okay, any real-time example.
Basically, we can say that.
Yes, sir. And when the like creating of the table, so and the table data we can and they store on the database, and the one of the database is selected. So
when large amount of data is to be managed, then we use database. Like in the school, collecting fees and.
So basically, companies are using data for their research and development and doing some innovations. So there are many examples where data can be used because we have to gain the insights. That's the main idea.
Okay, can you sum up? Tell me common usage of it, like where all it is being used. Anywhere if you have seen.
It is used in service industries, manufacturing segments, and even by the government also, and also by healthcare. There are many more, etc. So
maintaining employees.
Yeah,
like
very well said.
For the data storage and data analysis purpose also, and the business operation purpose also.
Nice. I really appreciate coming forward and answering these questions. So I really I want to applaud for this. Why? Because you guys, I'm really telling you, not only know the concept, theoretically, practically also, right? Isn't it a wow thing, right? It's very good. I'm really telling it's very good. You know this, and you are all interested in it, right? So yeah, like I was telling, what are the uses of database? You mentioned it very well. First purpose of this common usage of the database is to store the website and apps. I'm telling you why. Okay. Now you have given some examples, right? Those are all correct. Those are all perfect. But I'm telling, in real world, in industry right now, there are what is common uses of it is to store the information of website and the apps, right? Now nowadays, wherever you go, right, in any company, you see one or other application, login application, sales application, tracking application, order management application. Go to hospital management session. If you go social media, social management session. These are all the data, right? And this data is coming from where? A website, app. You got it, right? That is what I'm talking about. To store, see, this is one of the best common use of databases from the website or app. We collect lots of data from apps and website. Okay, believe if you are agree with me or not, right? Like, because you go anywhere, right? Let's say you want to go look for a job in TCS. So how do you get the job, right? Where you go? Website. Open the website, go there. You go there and you try to look for the website where you can feed your data. Now if you feed a data, where it is going? It is going to the database. This is a primary common usage where you store your data. Now you see, you have a phone, right? Right now you are logged in phone. You are using a phone now, and that phone has multiple applications, multiple apps. You use Facebook, you use social media, Instagram. What don't you use, right? You use many things like this, and where you try to store your data, online data, real time data, where you store uh, to the database. Okay, where you store this to the database. So first use is to store. So that is the first. Now next thing is manage. So how do you manage the database? Right. So you put it the data into database, but somewhere you have to manage. So nowadays you can once you store the data, at a later point of time, you need to manage that data. So we put the data into where? In the warehouses. Warehouse we have lot many data, multiple databases store all together in the some particular warehouse. Now that data we can use, that data is being managed in the warehouse, and later we can use that data wherever we want, right? So that is a second usage of it. Okay, next. Now also you see, you might have seen, we also track. Okay, let's say in Amazon, right? What do, you daily do order, you daily do order. You, some people, what they do, they create an account, they created their own business account. Believe me or not, right? They create their own account. They become sales people, right? They are selling their products online. They are like a co. They are like a co-seller where they can sell their data online, right? So the next purpose or next uses of the database is ordering and sales. And where we order, we go to the online website or we go to the app in phone. There we go order multiple data. We also sell the data, right? So these all the data, where it goes, it is goes to the database. And these are all what? These are all a e-commerce platform where we track orders and sales. This is one of the best common uses of the database, right? Now let us talk about let us talk about hospitals, right? In hospital we have lots of data, don't you think? In hospital, if you go, you just go and inquire, right, about like I'm not feeling well, I'm ill from last few days. Okay, then what you do, they will give you one form where you feed your data, right? And you submit it to a reception person. What he does, he takes data, put it in the website, right? And in hospital, there are many websites they have created. Nowadays, there are many apps, right? They're putting into in just in their their hospital premises. You can just go, all the screen touch pads are there. Just touch and go next, click and submit, done, right? So there are a lot of data coming through. This is one of the common uses I'm talking about, which we should know from where the data is coming. And this is the best common use, because not you are a poor or rich or a medium scale, right? All the people go to hospital, a large amount of data is being collected from hospitals, right? That is why this is one of the common usage of records being stored into the database, right? And that's these all the information are patient's information. All are information of patient's information who wants to get well, they wants to get feel well, right? They go to the hospital, they submit the data, and then later that data is being used for your tracking. Later they will send appointment meetings, they will send schedule your meetings with doctor and all that they will do later point of. But this data is one of the common usage of the database. Now let us let us talk about like social media, right? You who don't use social media, tell me, in nowadays? There are many millions and millions of people using the social media website. Talk about Facebook, talk about Instagram, talk about banking system. Okay, you go anywhere bank, right? If you go any bank, simply you open an account, given a form, submit the data. So these are the different sources of getting data, isn't it? Anyone has any questions, they can raise in between. You can talk about it. You can give me some common uses. I would love to have it, right? Just let me finish it in 1 minute, right? Then I would give an opportunity to talk about like what are the common uses you feel, right? I am just mentioning 5, 6, but you might have 10, 20, right? It is possible because you are around the society where you live, and you know from where the data is being collected, because we are the real time entity, we know what is around happening, right? So I would give that opportunity. But first, power of is a social media feed, right, where lots of data is being generated daily. You see how many reels you scroll, how many posts you how many posts you put it on Instagram, Facebook, isn't it? Or you put the story. There is a lot of data being generated from the social media websites. Okay, let's talk about banking system. In bank also you go, right? There also you go, you create the form, you submit the data, you go there, submit the data by online, offline. There also created lots of data. So there are many industries also if you go, right? Chemical industry, mechanical industry, chemical, all this industry, if you go, there also created lots of data because there are labors, there are employees to manage the data we require. And many companies, if you talk, all the companies, big company, they required employees to manage their data, right? So that is like contract employees management system. This where from data is coming. This all the data is coming from this all the vendors who requires the manpower. Can anyone, few guys, can come up and tell me common uses of database if you know, or if I said something wrong, you can correct me. Anyone? Anyone you know, like these are the sources of data coming from? Anyone? Devang, Pushpa, Ayush. You feel like these are the different sources from where we can get it. These are the common uses. These are the common uses you feel. Pushpa, go ahead.
School is also a medium through which we get the data.
Yeah,
Schools
perfect
students
example.
got,
Nice, nice,
APAR
Pushpa.
ID.
Also
And
research, also research publications and from the market, also from the market trends and insights we can see.
Yeah, very well said. Nice, good example, Devang. Anyone want to try?
Yes, sir. For the data analysis purpose, and the government application also used for the like database.
Very well said. This is one of the best, I would say. Why?
And
Because LIC, if you see, I'm telling you, I have not seen a single family who don't have LIC. So there are, like you see, how many people we are in India, right? Many people, right? 130 crore people, right? Now I'm talking about uh, every family, from every family, one or other candidate has a LIC. And believe me or not, how much data they are creating? Lot of data, right? This is one of the big source of getting a data, LIC data. And day by day, they are increasing, they are giving more LIC schemes, right? Believe me or not, I have 2 to 3 LICs. You might have one or other LICs. And everyone required, right, for your health. It is just not your saving for you when you get retired. It is just a helping hand for when you get a retire. You will have benefit. Just not that. It is a safety for your, right. I'm not deviating from the topic. I'm just talking about it. But yeah, anyone want to try? I think we're good. And thanks Pushpa, Divyank, and Kishan for coming up and giving this information. And it is really useful, right? Because we want everyone to talk. And I want everyone. Why you don't want to talk? I want very collaborative session. If you tell me, I will make sure that I will, on every question, I will have a collaboration with you guys, and that is what going to help. I'm telling you, when we will have upcoming sessions, we will have daily practical session. We will have lots of collaborations, but apart from that, we will have lots of theoretical question as well, right? That is what the primary thing is. We will go through first theoretical questions. We should know the concept first, then we'll go through the practical sessions, right? Okay, now let's go to the next. I'm not going through right now. I'm going through not going through the agenda. Okay, believe me or not, I don't want to go right away, but I wanted to give you. I want to understand because I am a new, and right, and I want to know how much you have that skill set. And I want to check like at what skill level you are at. And I can get benefit from you guys, right? Because that is what the one-to-one session is, right? It is just not from me you learning. I should be learning from you. So that is why I am going ahead and asking these questions. And don't get don't get, sir, why you get started with this? Okay, I really want to start with this all and get started with the practical session. But I had a few questions to ask, which I wanted to check. Like, you guys are really good, these things, so that is really helping me a lot, right? And in coming session as well. Okay, now you see the benefit of database. Okay, what are the benefit of database? If anyone want to talk, if anywhere you see this is the benefit, I have seen many benefit of database, having database. I'm gonna talk a lot about this. If anyone interested, otherwise I'll get started.
Centralized control.
Okay, nice.
Centralized control.
Yes, sir. And database are benefit and the including for the efficient data storage also, and the improve the organization and the security purpose, and the better data access as management purpose also used.
Nice. Very well said. Okay, let's get started. So first benefit I see is data organization. What do you mean by data organization? Data has to be stored in some format. That is why we have to organize them. So how do you organize? That is a benefit. Okay, that is the benefit of it. So benefit is stored structured data. What is the data? Structured. Okay, why would I use the word structure? Anyway, because we know where to store where, right? When you create a database, you know what to create. You know how to create, right? You should be creating a table. You should be creating a table having a columns. You should be having constraint. So many things, right? You should be creating a database first. So there are steps, right? There are some certain steps. We simply don't jump. Oh, I want this data. I want this value. What we do, it is very well organized. It is a very well organized in such a way that we can store the data in rows and columns. Anyone want to say what is a row and what is column? Yeah, so row is where you store a record or a particular record of data, right? Let's say you particular entity you want to store a data, it's a record, right? And column indicates what type of data you want to store, right? And we store the data row by row, and row is a horizontal, right? And what is a column? A column is a vertical, right? Where we can store a type of data. Let's say an example, employee data. Employee has ID when you join. Employee has a name. Employee has a company name. Employee has a gender. Employee has many things, right? So we store this data. But how many employee data we store? That is where come the records. How many records? You'll have 100 employees. So 100 employee record. That is a row in which we store the data. But column, we should know how many columns to be created. So that is based on the information you have available about the employee, isn't it? So if I talk about employee is an entity. And if you are talking about behavior of entity, what employee does? Employee go to where? Office. You go to office. He eat in the morning. Then he work in the office. He comes back. So there are lots of data coming through here, right? If you don't you think of it, there are lots of data here. But now this data has to be organized in such a way that today, tomorrow we want data. I want that data to be coming out, right? So what do? We organize the data in such a way that we will fetch the data related to that entity, right? Like I was saying, right? Creating a table having multiple columns. And that information will be that information we store in records, right? So we'll have multiple records. So how many information? If 100 employees, 100 record will be stored into the employee table. So that is why we organize into the rows and columns, right? Because the data what we have is a different type of data. Believe me or not, name, string data, varchar data, right? Age, it's a number data, isn't it? Address, it's a varchar data. This is right. Then you have let's say you go to school, you gain some good scoring. You have marks, right? That's a floating data or double data, right? Let's say you have file, you got a mark sheet. You want to store the marksheet data. That's binary data. That is the store in the blob and clob, right? So these are the type of data we want to organize and store, right? That is where we have to organize in a such a way that when tomorrow I want, I should be able to fetch the data. That is why uh, each record we create, we provide an ID, and that is the identifier for each record. Tomorrow I come, I store Santosh data has an ID. By passing ID, I'll get all the data for the Santosh because data has been already organized, right? That is where first benefit come is data organization. Now, what? Now, next thing is data integrity. Anyone want to talk what is data integrity?
Yes, sir. And the data integrity, like we can do the structure the data with the consistency of the accuracy and the we can and the predefined format and the relationship between the data.
Okay. Maybe I would like to fill in here something. Okay. So data integrity. Anyone want to try? Go ahead, please. And then I'll start. Okay. Nice. So data integrity is basically you see like lots of data, and you might see a data coming duplicate. You might see data coming incorrect, right? So that is a data integrity problem, right? And we should avoid data. We should avoid duplicate data, right? We should avoid incorrect data. That is where I was mentioning, right? When you create a data, when you create a column, we should define a proper data type, and we should have a correct data, right? Not incorrect data. If you have incorrect data, it is a data integrity issue, and we cannot integrate the data if you have a data issue, right? And if you have duplicate data, again it is waste of usage, where you are storing, right? We shouldn't be doing that. So storage is very important where you store, right? Because we pay for it. It is pay for it, pay per use, right? In cloud also we store in data. It is pay per use. So data integrity is to prevent the duplicate and incorrect data, right? That is where we use the data integrity. Now, we'll in upcoming sessions we'll really see at practically how we are implementing. If you anyone want to talk, really go ahead and talk, right? Not an issue. Now, next I will talk about the security, right? Anyone want to try? Yeah. Yeah, so when you talk about security, we are trying to control. We are trying to control access using giving some permissions. Let's say, let's say you are in a banking system. You have been created so many database, right? So there is payment database. There are some critical information database. So you'll be not given permissions. So what we do, we provide a permissions based on the role, right? We create, there are many roles we create, right? Admin, super admin, and then based on your role, there are multiple role, based on role, different admin will be created, right? Right, and based on that, we provide the permissions. Now, why permission is required? Anyone talk? Why permission required? Why permission is required? Because we don't want anyone unauthorized person accessing that table or that data, right? So what we do, we try to give a permission to those tables so that only intended person, only authorized person can access those tables, right? Also, we encrypt them so that if someone want, we provide an encryption key and they can decrypt and use it. So this is all about a security, right? And if you go in banking, I'm just taking a few examples. There are a lot I can talk, right? There is something where you go website, right? Where you log in. When you log in any website, you provide username, password, right? Or if you are working any let's say developing an API, you might have come across token, JWT token. These are all encrypted.
Yes, sir. Barrier token, JWT token.
Exactly. So that all are encrypted, right? If you just go ahead and just search in Google, you try to see lots of information in the JWT token, right? Because we are extracting data, and that data is already stored into that key JWT token, and now later we extract and see what sort of data is being stored. Why we do this basically? Because we don't want to be disclose this information, because this is very very critical.
हेलो
Yeah.
बोल रहे सर थोड़ा टाइम को बढ़ा दिया जाए तो अच्छा रहेगा
नहीं,
Sorry to interrupt, आशीष कुमार ठाकुर जी, प्लीज इट्स अ रिक्वेस्ट, अगर आपको कुछ भी कहना है प्लीज आप अपनी हैंड रेज कीजिए, ऐसे क्लास के बीच में इंटरप्ट ना कीजिए, और सेशन टाइमिंग वही सेम रहेगी। आज जितने पैरामीटर्स कवर हो पाएंगे वेल एंड गुड, अदरवाइज नेक्स्ट संडे को हम सेम सेशन में सभी चीजें कवर अप करेंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आशीष जी। कृष्णा भैया, इट्स ओवर टू यू।
ठीक है
Thank you, Ashish. Team will do the needful.
Hello.
Yeah. Now,
हाँ जी।
okay. Are we good, Gaurav?
Sorry, I'm muting myself.
Yeah. Now, next, let me go to the next topic. Now we're talking about the scalability. Okay. Now, anyone want to raise? Because it's very huge. Everyone should know what is scalability in database. What is scalability?
Means can be added more and more data.
Nice. Very good try. Anyone want to try?
And that is used for the the increasing handle the workload of the data volume, and the without the and the compromise the performance and the ability also.
Yeah. See, I was talking about sourcing data, right? Thanks for answering, Kishan, Pushpa. I was talking about sourcing data, right? From where we get this data? From different sources, right? Isn't it? Now, this data is increasing, tremendously increasing. Do you know that Facebook and Instagram, how much data generate every minute? In millions of data, right? Where to store this data? So that is why a company or an industry, right, who uses the data, they want to scale the data. What is meant by scale the data? Scaling the data meaning upgrading is one thing, where or we can scaling means we are adding more and more what? More and more databases, or we can say the replicas, right? So that we can support all the data we have received from the different sources, isn't it? Now, if I scale, there are type of scale, right, where we store. Let's say there is something called horizontal and vertical scaling. I'm just briefly talking about, not explaining in depth. What is vertical scaling? A scaling required a configuration, system configuration. That is where we call vertical scaling. Let me give an example. Now, I am running one Java application in the Windows system. Now, I have some RAM where assign my application. But the data which generates had it is consuming lots of data. I get out of memory exception or permission exceptions related, right? Error, database error I'm getting. Now, you feel this is a database. It is a storage issue, isn't it? It's simple, right? It is a storage issue because it is going out of memory, right? Now, in order to resolve this, what do you do? Either you increase the RAM or increase the storage, right? So what do you do? We're increasing the system configurations, isn't it? This is called vertical scaling. In vertical scaling, we add more and more, we add on configurations. We upgrading the configurations, increasing RAM, increasing hard disk, adding more hard disk, adding the graphic more cards, right? So this is what we're doing. We upgrading the configuration, system configuration. Anyone has any doubt in vertical scaling?
Sir, one thing, sir, and I can ask one thing.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir. And for the vertical scaling, we can adding the one or and the multiple resource, right? For the like CPU and RAM and the storage purpose. But we can use for the multiple of server or single server.
Okay. So what is your question? We can add multiple CPU in the
No, sir. And I am sir asking if I am using for the vertical scaling for the scale up.
Right.
So in that condition we can use for the adding for the one or multiple resource for the CPU and RAM and the storage purpose.
Right.
So and the vertical scaling used for to the single server or multiple server.
Yeah, very good question. So when you add more and more CPU, right, it is the same in the same system, right? It will be stored in the same system. We are adding everything in RAM, hard disk, whatever you are doing in the same system, right? It is not going to store anywhere. It is in the same system. So it is called vertical scale. That is why we call vertical scaling. You got it? What I'm saying?
Yes,
Let's
sir.
say you are adding more and more resources, part of the same system, then it is a part of vertical scaling. Answers your question? Because we are not changing a system here. We are not changing a system or creating a new system altogether, right? What we are doing is in a single system, we are trying to upgrade the configurations. That is why it is a vertical scaling. Okay. I think hope it answers because we have to. I mean, this is just a
Yes, sir. Yes,
simple
sir.
topic
Thank you.
we're talking about. But yeah, let's talk about horizontal scaling. Anyone want to try?
Yes, sir. And in the
Adding
like
record. Adding
Yes, sir.
records or appending data.
Yeah. Maybe I want to little bit correct you, Pushpa. Yeah, I think you are there.
Sir, in the
Pushpa,
horizontal scaling, maybe in the vertical scaling, if I am not using for the multiple server, so in that case, in the horizontal scaling, we can and the adding for the more server, I think, and the more server or more nodes, maybe.
yeah, you are there. You are there, right? Kishan, you are there, right?
Yes, sir.
So adding a server, right? Like let's talking about system. So each and every system has an IP address. So we use concept of server, right? Why Kishan is mentioning server? That is why I'm talking, right? In each and every system has allocated IP address, right? We have static IP and public IP, right? Now that that is why we call a server where it serves the data, right? Using the IP address, what it does serve data when you look for some data, right? So when you look for a website internally, it is going to call some IP address, isn't it? So that those are all servers. Now, just adding on it, okay? Now in horizontal scaling, we are creating a replications. First of all, we are creating a replication of same server. Okay, let me take an example. Now, let's say this scheme, right? Diwali scheme. Then Amazon, we have Amazon offers. Then we have Flipkart offers. You know that in Diwali, New Year, Christmas, you will have offer, right? Now, you see when 1 million people are using every day this application, it become 1.5 million. Now, you have developed application to support 1 million. Let's take an example. It's not realistic. Okay, let's take an example to support 1 million. Now all of a sudden 500,000 user came that day and started using it. What will happen? Your application will scratch and it'll say out of storage, out of memory, isn't it? So what you will do in that case? In that case, you think of adding more and more server. That is why you create a replication. And nowadays in the cloud, if you are aware of Azure cloud, AWS cloud, we use load balancer to create a multiple servers on the fly. Okay, and that is based on the CPU percentage. Right? Let us say CPU percentage is 90%. Right? And you want to create multiple server. So in load balancer, we have to tell saying that if your CPU percentage is going this much, create this many server. What it does simply creates 5 servers or 2 servers. Now let's say 1.5 million user using Flipkart or Amazon, right, per day. It increased 1.5 by 500,000. Now it created 2 servers. So it is going to support or not? Yes, it is going to support now. Now application will not go down. Now what happened? When started using your system, your CPU percentage will go high and high, right? Because you have many users being used. The CPU percentage will go high and high, 90-95%. Therein, we create the more servers. Now, there has to be some question here, a reverse question, opposite question. Sir, now it has been reduced to 1 million. What to do? If someone is interested to ask question, what to do? In that case, there has to be some provision, right? So what will load balancer? If CPU percentage go down, you can reduce the number of servers. That is can be done using the load balancer in the cloud, AWS cloud or Azure cloud, right? That is one of them. Now I was talking about scaling part, right? Now I'm talking about the speed. This is one of the benefit of it, right? Speed. Now, anyone want to talk about speed? Speed is a very good benefit of database. What is that it makes? It's providing a very good speed, right? Anyone?
So basically, sir, sorry, if you talk about the speed, so accessing the data can be very much in a very quick manner, because everyone cannot wait for so much time. So speed is very much important. Basically,
Nice.
fetching the data can be
Yeah.
called as in the speed.
Yeah.
Speed basically matters now, because there's a voluminous data and everyone needs access very quickly. So that is why speed is important. Yeah.
Very well said, Devak. Very good. Very well tried, by the way. Yeah, of course. Speed means how do you classify the speed, right? Speed is something is happening like this, right? If you snap your finger, happens. That is why millisecond it should fetch your data, and you should be able to fetch the data and display it, right? So database, all the database mostly all are very fast. Okay, very fast. If you write a query, it pulls out the data in milliseconds. Now, how it is happening is when you write a query, right? When you write a query, it depends. It depends how you write a query, how you create a database, right? That is why we say speed is good, but it's depend on how you created a database. Let us say, right? Some of the places you have lots of data, all right? All millions of data you have stored, and we are fetching all the records. It is going to die in sooner or later, right? Isn't it? So what you have to do, it is just not creating a database. It is just not creating a database. It is how you created a database. Table, right? How you created in indexes, right? So you go library, anyone who is reading a book on something, right? Anyone go to library? What do you do basically? We go and ask librarian, hey librarian, I want a book. And you go and pick a book. But you are new, you don't know anything. Librarian know everything. So librarian says, like, what I'm doing, man, I'm going and telling them where to go. Why don't I use something where I can identify? So what he did, based on the his ideologies, he created different departments. For social media one, for IT one, for chemical factory one, mechanical, different, right? If you go library, find different sections, right? Now each section will have different authors, different books. We can categorize and put it, right? So these are all your identifiers, right? Which help you to identify where to go. Oh, in this IT sector, I should go for which book? Okay, Java book. So for which author? This author. C. Y. Dennis Ritchie. I go in there, pick it. I know this Java department. I know this C++ department, right? So there has been section I'm talking about. These are sections. So if you give identifier a flag here, okay, Java, C++. Now it is an identifier for you, right? So that is where concept comes of indexes. Now database, when we fetch the data from the database, it's basically how intelligent you make a database while creating is by using the indexes. Now you feel, I want to fetch data, better you create the indexes, right? On the column, you feel you want going to fetch data frequently, right? And always keep a practice when you are performing a fetch, and if you are performing an update, there is a problem here, right? Because where you are performing an update on the particular column and you are fetching the data from the same column and putting an index, this is not a good combination, right? So we have to be think in a way where if you are fetching a data, you should be putting a column in which you want to fetch data faster. So it helps you create, help you fetch or retrieve data faster. That is one. Now let's talk about the next is recovery and backup. Recovery and backup, I'll talk about this bit, right? Then I have one more thing to talk, then we can wrap it up. Maybe for today, right? Another 5 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes, 7, 10, we'll try to wind it up the session. But going forward, we'll try to take more queries also. I'm happy. If you are okay, I'll take pause and at the end of session, I'll take your queries. Okay, next was a backup and recovery. Okay, anyone want to try?
Yes, sir. And the backup is the use of the copy of the creating database data, and the which we can and the full of part, and the recovery purpose we can and the restoring of the database of the previous data, and the with the uniform way, and the backup and the files folder also.
Right, very well said. Yeah, so backup is something which we create in emergency. Okay, now let's say you are working, that system can crash at any moment of time. You never know, because due to some any reason, system can crash, operating system crash. What you will do? You will not do anything. Someone will come, IT person. He will try to recover. If it is possible. If it is not, it's not possible. You are lost all the data. So what do we do? Basically, we try to create a backup for each database. So that is where we have replicas, where we store the database as a backup, right? Tomorrow, if primary database goes down, we can retrieve from the second database, right? That is where we require backup. And we, so that we can recover the data, isn't it? Now, let's say you put in a backup, but you have to recover your data, right? So, so it is very much required for each and every database to implement scaling mechanism. All right, that is why I always talk. It is just not about that. Okay, you might say, sir, why scaling is required? I can simply copy and keep it somewhere, right? That data. Anyone might ask, right? Okay, I'll tell you the benefit of it. Let's create a database. I've created a script to create the database backup. Right? It is useful for you. Now, what do you do retrieve? How do you recover it? How do you sync your data? Right? There are lots of manual work here. Now, in order to do this, that is, we do this in a mechanism, right? We'll tell you application basically works. Now let's think, sir, I don't want to scale. Why? Why I want data? Where would in it you create a script? Back data, keep it server, right? So available. Want to retrieve it back and back, right? That we can. In if we have single server, right? Let's say if you have many options where you can store your database. You can store that S3 if you are using a cloud, where you can store that data. We can store this data in S3, right? We can S3 services. We can store this data in the warehouse. All right. So there are many services provided by AWS where you can store this data, right? So that is the primary use of, we have to back up the data so that we can recover it a later purpose when there is an emergency, right? So that is one thing about backup and recovery.
Sir, one thing, sir, and for the recovery purpose and the backup purpose and the DBMS software also we can use, because and the DBMS is the and the provided the and the some and the security purpose the data storage.
Yeah, if you use any database, right, MySQL, SQL, they provide a provision of having, backing up and recovering data. So there are provisions, right? When you say export the data, we can export, take a backup and keep it. There are provisions provided by them. We can use those provisions provided this database vendor and store the data where you want. But I will recommend to use the cloud to store the data, because if you are maintaining your servers, it is very harmful, because server is there today and tomorrow. If you don't have a team to maintain it, it's become very hectic for you to maintain it. So I would suggest to use, always suggest to use AWS, cloud, to store the data, and we can use whenever we want, and there is zero chance of losing data, right? So I would always recommend to do that. Okay, there is a next is something called multi-user access. Anyone want to talk about it?
Yes, sir. And the multi-user access, like and the authentication purpose we can use for the and the when the if I am going for the login, and if I am going for the any and the dashboard I am opening, so and the there and the authentication will be came for the after the going for the process, and we can proceed it.
Yeah, okay. I would like to little bit modify and answer it. Okay. Multi-user access means multiple people trying to access a particular resource. Okay. At the same time. Let's say we are logging, I am logging, Devank login, Pushpa login, right? How many people are logging? Logging. That is why it is multi-user accesses. Let's say you have, I have given a query, fetch the 1,000 record, and I have given a query, Devank, fetch the 1,000 record, and even I am also fetching, Pushpa also fetching. So 4 people are fetching or not. This is a multi-user system where multiple user can access the particular resource at the same time. Do you feel? Sometimes you might feel when you provide a locking mechanism. That concept I'll commit later and explain, right? Let's say there is some places where you put lock. Why? Because we have multiple user using the same resource, and that why we have done, because we are implementing some transaction management. You know the transaction management, right? In banking we provide transaction management, right? So that you got it, right? What I'm saying, right? When you are performing transactions, your data has to be secure, and to secure data we have to put lock on the tables. You might feel this issue of, when you're fetching a data, right? Other than that, almost all the 99 cases, other than if you don't have log, you will, all the people at the same time can fetch the data, and they will get the result in the same time, maybe a variation of milliseconds, isn't it? That is a multi-user access, right? I think we are good. Anyone has any questions?
Sir, one thing, sir, and
Go ahead.
you can tell, sir, real-time example of multi-user, on the corporate level.
Yeah, multiple user, you say, take any example. In banking system, right? There are multiple employees, types of employees. Let's say one is salesperson, one is what do you say, marketing person, one is the data manager, one is the there are multiple people, right? One person is a accountant. So how many people are there? Multiple people, right? Now multiple people has given different system. You given one system, you given one system. So 4 people are 4 systems. Now they are accessing same database. Let's say account person wanted to pull account data from the database. So database is ABCD database. Or I'll take one real time example. Okay, banking system. The banking system and database created, and there is one account table. In account table, there are, everyone wants to fetch data, right? In account table, how many data we have? Let's say HDFC Bank. Millions of records are there, right? Now accountant person, sales person, marketing person, and who else? Anyone else, right? They can access at the same time this account data. That is called multi-user access, right? Because they are using
Sir,
the
Google
same
Doc
application.
would be a Sir, Google Doc can be an example for this.
Google Doc, yes, Google Doc when you store data, yeah, good example. Google Doc is one of the good example. Google Doc is there. Then we have Microsoft Cloud. What do you say? Microsoft Confluence
Excel.
is there. Microsoft Excel is there. Microsoft Confluence is there. This data you store it, right? And that data is available for multiple users. They can access it, right? But there is a concept also. When you create, we can put a log, or you can put access, read access, write access, right? It depends, right? But at least it is visible. Let's say I put a data in Azure, in cloud. If I put a Excel, it is usable to all, right? But it is required access. Let's say unless I provide access, you will not be seeing it. But by default, everyone will have a read access, default access, right? Read access. So moment I put in the anywhere cloud, it is all available for all the intended user. That is a good example, right? Google Cloud is there where you put all your data, right? And you, but where this is something where it is created for a group, not for a single person, right? Or entity. Single person, you go and store your data in Google Cloud. But if you create an account, Gmail account or something where you put your data, multiple people were logged in with the same data, they can access it. That is multi-user access, right? This is one example. There are many examples in real time, right? We can use it. Banking, I said one example. Then there is one example is in manufacturing or in construction also, right? Nowadays, there are many salesperson. They wanted to, give information of some properties being said, like Prestige is, Shobha is there. So what they will do, many people are using the same application, right? So what they do, they go and they get the data from the cloud. If they want Excel sheet, they want a PPT, they want anything, they will get it from one place only. Otherwise, they will not store it, different places. Because if I'm explaining a concept about one property, somehow and someone else also has to explain the same concept, right? What is it, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, what amenities you are giving, all that, right? That is why we put it at all together at one place, and multiple user can use it at the same time, right? That is what we call multi-user access. Anyone has any questions so that we can wrap it up?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Yes, please.
Sir, I wanted to know that this is a general question that if you are talking about the databases, so other methodologies like using Tableau or Power BI, also we can use the same function, right? Fetching the data and driving like insights from it, right? Just a question. Can be used, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is similar to that, right? Yeah. Power BI, Power BI you can use, yeah. We can use those concepts also. That is possible, yeah.
So basically, these are like just different tools to just interpret the data, right? Data would be the same, just to interpret. We can use different mediums like SQL, Power BI, and Tableau. Just
You want to use Oracle, but these are the different tools. But
okay.
user will be different, right? Today user will be 10 user using SQL database, but they are using at the same time, right? They have multiple user accessing same time. Tool can vary, concept remains same, yeah. Irrespective of any tool, yeah.
So okay, so because I have seen that companies are using multiple tools, like in the same company they're using SQL also, they're using Power BI also,
Exactly.
they're using
Even
Tableau
graphs,
also.
I'll tell you, graph, visualizing data, chart, graph, dashboards, right? You have seen, right? That's been used by multiple people. Sales and marketing people, they always put data. They want everyone to be accessed, right? They put it in the mail group. They add it and give a link. Oh, I have given this. This is the marketing strategy. This much sales happen. Everyone want to see, right? You click, you will have access. This is like a multi-user access. There are many examples in real time when it comes to real time, right? There are many examples, I would say. So in real time, but yeah, we should know the concept. I would say we should know the concept. What is multi-user access, right?
Okay.
I think it really works. Everyone tried very well. Devan, Pushpa, Kishan, thanks for participating and answering those questions. I really meant a lot because you are really, really progressing and upskilling yourself. You know the concept. I think in coming session we'll have real-time example where you will learn a lot. Just I just today's session I wanted to have interactive. Why? Because I wanted to check, everyone with everyone, like at what skill level you are at, so that I can learn from you and you can learn from me, right? So with this, I think we are good. To wrap it up. Anything we can add?